dude, this is awesome. Like,
Yeah.
I'm super excited, man.
I'm 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 really happy.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, you shouldn't be.
I no, it's just fun, but I'm also I'm just I'm really humbled and really just stoked because you asked me on this show,
Yeah.
and I totally respect the past guests you've had. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like, it's to be on this show is extremely humbling, and
Yeah.
I just want to tell you thank
Yeah.
you from the bottom of my heart. I'm expressing my feelings.
Hey, man, I appreciate you being on. The irony is like,
It is. It's
dude,
interesting.
the irony is like, you heard, Terry Dewan and the past guests talk about, the influence you had. Dude, you've been like a deity to a lot of us. Like, D-Nick. It's like fucking Prince.
Yeah.
It's like one word. You just throw it out there, and
Oh,
like you could
gosh.
throw it around baseball, and so many guys know you. And so, but that's how we grew up, and with the Harbor, and watching you go Daily Breeze Player of the Year, and then killed at Florida hit for the cycle, and you're in pro ball, and we're just like, oh my god, it's D-Nick. So like,
Yeah.
dude, this is awesome for me too. So.
I appreciate it. Thanks,
Yeah.
man. And then we coached together,
yeah, we
and
coached
did all
together.
that fun stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're the recruiting guru, man.
Yeah, I don't know about
God.
that.
Well, you had some big leaguers coming. I know that.
That's true.
Jeez
yeah,
Louise,
we
man.
just got lucky on a couple of guys. But dude, seriously, tell me your baseball story because I've never heard it from the inception. Like this
Okay.
is
Well,
is
this
the
point
fun
of
part.
view is what's interesting is because now I'm 44 years old.
Yeah.
And of course you're gonna have a different perspective on it going back, as opposed to even when we worked together. That was in 2000, I think, last in 2012, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm extremely fortunate. That's the number one thing. Anything that happened in my life had to do with being fortunate enough to have incredibly supportive parents, mother and father, and that goes for all of us. I'm come from a family. I'm the youngest of 4 boys, and we all played. Okay, and growing up, again, we're going back to being fortunate. Growing up in Redondo Beach, my brothers were playing baseball at Redondo High in the early 80s. One brother, Donnie, graduated in 83, Dave graduated in 81. And what I was exposed to was extreme. It's funny, me and my brother Coco, I talked to him, we talked about the balls there. Because these guys had like balls. I don't know if that's, you can say that.
100% you
but
can.
you know what I'm saying? They were ball players. Guys were tough. Guys loved the game. I mean, we played wiffle ball in our front yard on Spencer Street around the corner from Redondo High, I mean. That's how I learned how to hit as a youngster. I mean, guys aren't letting loose. We played pickle on the grass strip right there, and it was very tribal living. I mean, and me and my brother Coke, we were younger because my brothers were older, and these guys were all, you're talking in an era where, I mean, you're off the 70s. We had a pinball machine in our damn garage.
Oh, wow.
for crying out loud.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun. And my parents were so supportive of that, and having the 4 boys and us. I mean, I grew up at Redondo Union High, that field over there. We used to swing on the eucalyptus trees. We used to hit with our hands and throw them the crumpled up Levi Garrett bags.
Oh wow!
Oh my
God,
that was classic. And we saw a lot of really cool things, and we're just being exposed to that was an advantage.
Yeah.
By far, me being the youngest of 4 boys that all played, that was a big advantage. I feel, looking back on it, I knew how to act in the game. I knew how to play the game. By the time and then later on, as I went on to even playing Little League, and also even friends of the family. I mean, my dad. We were lucky and fortunate enough. My dad had been childhood friends with Doc Ellis since he was 9 years old.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, they grew up together in Gardena, and
Okay.
man, they were friends since they were 9 years old. And I had Doc would come around every once in a while, when we had time, and visit my dad, and I would hear stories about him dropping Reggie Jackson, and it's like crazy. And then that later on in this conversation, I'll come in even bigger. He went to Gainesville one time, visiting me at Gainesville.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I was lucky, and there were times, and
Oh my
that's
gosh.
later.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but. And then you talk about the guys that grew up in the area that were always I was so fortunate to know through, like my brother Donnie, who coached Terry and all that at Torrance. But Jason Kendall and Mike was his brother. They were coming through there, and Jason was a big leaguer and just
Yep.
totally took care of me when I was coming up through the low minor leagues and things like that. And just those are all fortunate people. Scott Davison was the same way.
Yeah.
These guys are all basically neighborhood people from different neighbors, but from the same kind of tribe that we all pull from.
For sure.
We're all kind of, we all kind of chew the same dirt.
Yeah.
And these guys really took care of me because they had known my brothers. They had known, things from the past, and they were from different areas. Again, we all chewed the same dirt.
Yeah,
So
sure.
extremely fortunate. So there wasn't really a whole lot of room for me to fail.
Yeah.
I was taken care of, and then that was really cool. And I was very fortunate. I didn't realize till later that it was definitely an advantage, but it definitely helped out being that kind of player growing up. And so that's what I want to make sure everybody knows as we go into the story. Okay. And and I was so fortunate enough that when I didn't play Pony League over here, I would play over in El Segundo, Babe Ruth, and that's where it kind of started as far as being around these other coaching wise. I mean, really, really top. I had Will Parsons was my coach.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Kemmer Brett, Gary Meza. These are all guys that were really, really excellent players in that area. And I was lucky enough to be around them.
Yeah.
And my dad would drive my ass down there.
Yeah.
And we'd play that season. I played in the All-Stars, and we went really far. And that was a turning point where I thought maybe I could play a little bit. I was doing really well with some good players against some good competition. Get to Redondo High, I had a lot of baggage as far as emotionally when I got to Redondo High. So we moved to West Torrance.
Okay.
And West Torrance, just so happened, the same guy who coached my brothers at Redondo High was now the coach at West Torrance High School.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of you kind of moved into the area.
Yeah.
I mean, and it was cool too. When I got there, I was a sophomore, and Coke was a senior. It was cool because it was kind of the ending of an era of really good athletes. Guys that were there like Steve Sarkisian, he was an excellent football player, obviously, excellent football coach, and excellent baseball player. And there was just that group of guys like Josh Bendick, Josh and Dave Marsden, and all these guys. And Harry coached them for a year. And then I kind of came in as a sophomore, and I was able to build a legacy, not knowing it at the time. But by being taken care of and seeing and being around this culture of ball players, that guy's a baseball rat,
for sure,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
That kind of culture, and then also being the youngest of four boys I was always looking for that little brother. You know what I'm saying? Because I was always taken care of, so I could always be a good player, but I wasn't a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Especially if I felt like they could help us win some ball games,
absolutely.
And being around that, and then that circling over to, also into my friend group. Of course, I'm going to hang out with people that we have, mutual feelings about certain things, and that's how kind of our whole, my friend group is as well. And that's a life, that's a lifetime of baseball in itself, and I haven't even, started after high school. You know? So again, extremely fortunate. And at West High, Coach Jenkins, and I'll go through this whole path of what these coaches taught me. He really taught me how to win. He was an incredible motivator, and he really, really taught us how to win. And I'll never forget it, man, because we did win there, and we expected to win, and how we did it, or I'm not gonna say it was great. It was all totally. Very sportsmanlike, but you know what? It was how the time was and how we expected.
Yeah, it was different times back then. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Always look back on that, and I'm very, very proud of the time I spent there. And then then the other things came around. As far as I was concerned, I expected myself to be an all CIF player for 2 years. I expected myself to be an all area player, Daily Breeze Player of the Year in my junior year. that year before that season, I got 51 hits in that season.
Jeez.
And I wanted, my goal was 50 hits that year.
Yeah.
And I just really expect, and it's funny how that mindset was when you're younger, and it really grows and manifests into something real,
Yeah.
but you're not realizing it's going on.
Yeah, for sure.
You're kind of, it's going through this, and I'm sure you know the feeling. You're a
Yeah.
great player yourself,
Yeah.
just like most guys on this podcast have been. But as we went on, and then I thought I would, but you see, this all comes with other things too. I didn't necessarily take school real seriously.
Yeah.
That's
a common refrain.
I was an idiot. I was pretty much there's some other extracurricular activities that I was very much involved in that I probably I probably could have got better grades if I wasn't.
Yeah.
But we all go through that, and the price I had to pay was I come back. I went to junior college.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to have gone to Florida for 4 years. That'd be
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. Right.
But
yeah.
at the same time, I could remember this was a reality check for me. And again, bless my parents for actually letting me fail through this.
Yeah.
I think that happens a lot. I think a lot of parents will jump in and try to live their life with it. My parents, whether they knew it or not, they really let me fail in these, and for looking back thinking, man, that's impressive.
Yeah.
It's just I bless their heart for that.
Yeah.
But I could remember that, and I was like tripping out. I go to the area code games, okay, and that summer, right before our senior
Yep.
year, I did okay. I mean, I thought I did all right, and I'd had a great junior year, and I'd go through what you would call that circuit nowadays.
Yep.
With, you go through all that
The
shit.
travel ball stuff.
Yeah. And but then it was like area codes. It was like the only thing,
Yeah.
and did real well. I come back, and on our answering machine, our voicemail answering machine, there's like 60 calls on there. I mean, it maxed out how many calls were on, from schools all over the country. They wanted to talk to me. They want me to send transcripts. They want me to do all this. I'm like, damn, I didn't do very good, but I showed okay. I showed some tools, Sure enough, I remember by the end of all that, by the time I sent all these in, I couldn't get into any school. One school that was very hard, very, very aggressive as far as recruiting me was Texas Tech, and that was where I was like maybe, but I was going to JUCO. Dude.
Yeah.
I couldn't get in any school, so that was kind of that was a time when I'm going, but at the time it wasn't that big of a deal
No,
going
I
to
agree.
JC.
I agree.
Like we talked about before, and you've heard before, like, dude, if you were good, that's where you went.
That's where you went.
You went to LA Harbor College, and
Yeah.
our small little JC in Wilmington, that had produced players. I was third generation player there.
Yeah.
My brother Donnie had played there, earned a scholarship. My brother Coco had played there. He was there at the time, and he ended up going on playing at Chico State. But you see, and that's what's so funny about it is that it wasn't a big deal. It's like JC, and for me academically, and we'll get into that later. Some things for me academically. It was right up my alley. I couldn't have gone on to school. And you know what? I wanted to sign. I got drafted by Seattle. I was like, oh God, I want to sign. It's like, dude, I would have been released. I would never have been the player I would have ever been if I would have signed out of high school or went to a big school out of high school.
Yeah.
No way. I needed JC. I probably needed LA Harbor more than they needed me at the time.
I feel the exact same way. Yeah.
And there I was fortunate enough to be around Jim O'Brien, who taught me more than anything the X's and O's out of anything in baseball. This the little things that matter. Tony Bloomfield was extremely instrumental in teaching me how to play the game.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I didn't have a choice. I had to learn how to play hard. When I was at high school, I was that jerk that would hit balls on the prospect in Redondo.
Yeah.
And I wasn't moving till it landed, and I played. I could tell you a funny story. I mean, I was at El Segundo before, this is classic. We were at El Segundo, you wait in the stands before a game. We're playing them at night. I don't know, JV's playing, or maybe it's an El Segundo tournament game we're playing there. And one of their coaches at El Segundo, bless his heart, guy was cool, but I was sitting there with a huge dip in my mouth, Copenhagen, right? And I'm like 16, for God's sakes. And he's like, and he looks at me, he goes, man, why do you got to be sitting up here with a huge dip in your mouth? And I look at him, and I stop. I look at him, I go, because I can, and just spit a huge wad of tobacco all over the seat in front of me.
Oh my.
I mean, poor guy. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God, if a kid did that to me, I'd
I know.
strangle. No, I wouldn't. But you see, and those are things that I remember. This guy told me this, and I was actually, he told me the story, and he jarred my mind. And I remembered the story, and dude, I was just totally embarrassed at myself. And
Yeah.
I even apologized. I go, you know what? I'm so sorry for disrespecting you. That was so bad. I was an idiot at that time. Not to say I'm not still a moron sometimes, but
We all are.
Yeah, but you know, it's just, it was making me laugh. So I thought that was a real interesting story, kind of who I was, who I thought I was.
Yeah.
But again, that came from, I was this macho, you know, hey, I'm a ball player.
Youngest brother.
That was me. I was
trying
the
to keep
youngest.
up. Yep.
And all, really, honestly, all I ever wanted to do was be better than my brothers.
Yeah.
All three of them,
Yeah.
Dave, Donnie, Coke. I mean, just want to be better than them. And
Yeah.
that was it, because I would always have to fight for everything I had. And
Yeah.
I was always looking for someone to come on my side.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that worked to my advantage. That helped me in my career. That helped me be the player that I was.
Yeah.
And that's why I love it. That's who I am today. And I love this game more than anything on this earth.
Yeah.
Except my kids, obviously.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, it's really kind of crazy how this kind of love relationship with this game, and how people don't accept it. I accept it. It's me. I mean, you may as well put red stitches in my head. You know, I mean, really, that's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm a baseball guy.
Yeah.
You know, that's me. So moving on, and like I was getting back to LA Harbor, Tony Bloomfield really taught me how to play the game the right way. Run hard, run the first. Not be a jerk. You run on the field. You work your butt off in order to be good. I learned this stuff where it had to get learned. It
Yeah.
did. All my brothers knew it. They'd rag my ass. They'd tell, you'd hear them in the stand, run, after I'd hit a home run, they'd be yelling at me, run.
Wow.
I was like, dude, and I didn't care. I thought, oh, dude, I'm the best player in the world. So it was funny. Got there, did really good, and ended up learning how to play the game the right way, which is playing. I look at it this way. Guys, when they say, oh, what defines playing hard? I said, playing like your life depends on it. Playing like a guy is sitting outside that gate with a 45 saying, if you don't run every ball out here and you don't run off the field, you don't play this game as hard as you possibly can, I'm going to blow your head off.
Yeah.
And that's really how I took it.
Yeah.
And it showed by the way I played. And it was a relentless pursuit and in-your-face style of play that, you know, I really exhibited as a player, and I really kind of try to help our players now, the guys I coach now, learn that kind of way to play, because it stands out too. I think more than anything, like things
especially
stand
now,
out.
right?
Yeah, well, and then we get on to going to Florida. You know, it was the same thing. You know, do really well at JC, and then I'm lucky enough to earn a scholarship to play for the man that was the old Maricosta coach. I mean, in 1981, I got home videos of Andy Lopez walking across the video, like coaching against my brothers.
Oh,
as a matter of fact,
that's
I mean,
crazy.
It's so crazy how this goes full circle. You know, that he coached against my brothers, and I don't know if he would ever remember this, but even my brother Donnie's like, yeah, I went down to Dominguez. He had us down on campus at high school. And my brother's like, and you know, Lopes in his Dominguez story, he's like, yeah, at the time, he's like, and Donnie's like, well, I kind of wanted to go to Harbor rather than going over there. Yeah. And it turned out because he went and played at UCI, but at the same time, it was just kind of funny and how everything kind of came full circle.
Yeah.
And then, and how everything kind of worked out. And Andy Lopez really becoming, everything that I ever wanted in a coach, or really teaching me how to be a man. Yeah. More than anything.
I would agree.
I was dying. I needed to get out of Southern California. I needed to be challenged to go to Gainesville. I needed this. And what it did was it pulled something out of me that I couldn't believe really could get out of me. And that was the numbers that I put up there. And I knew it, but it was just something that I wasn't sure, you know, you weren't sure how attainable it was, but it was there.
I know that. I remember that feeling going down there.
It's a crazy feeling, you know, and then when you suit up against the University of Miami, these schools you see on Prime Ticket going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm playing in Coral Gables right now. Oh my God, I can't believe freaking we're playing in Tallahassee.
Yeah, exactly.
And it wasn't a matter of being in awe of the people, but you soon realize, just like when you're on the mound, you strike out a dude from the Seminoles, and you're like, dude, that guy wasn't that very good.
Yeah,
Because I go up there, I go, dude, I was watching this guy pitch in Omaha a year ago when I was in JUCO, and I'm like, dude, this guy kind of stinks.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of crazy. But so that was the best thing that ever happened to me, what really along the way, along this path to everything, playing baseball these years, that was really a thing that Coach Lopez really taught me how to be a man. I was so fortunate to be around him. So you see this common kind of thing. I mean, I'm around again these balls era guys that are
Yep.
teaching. It's unbelievable. And then also too, going back even to when I was in, I'm kind of all over the place, but it might happen like that. It's kind
That's
of me.
okay. Yeah.
So, but it's kind of going back. I was like, I knew how to hit when I was, my brother Donnie would come. He was a Division I player. He, they were working on things there that people work on. I knew that I had to separate, and I had my elbow going my slot, and I'd be moving. He was always like really into Tony Gwynn, and my brother Donnie was, and he would actually take the time. We'd set up a blanket in the backyard. A blanket, not a net.
Yeah.
Fucking blanket. Okay. And I swear, and he'd flip me balls back there and be like, all right, dude, get to your stride. And be like, please, like, just put your elbow in your slot, through your knob of the ball, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Turn your back. And I was really taken to it, and it really created my swing. I thank my brother more than anybody, Donnie, for really, he took the time to do that. He could have been doing other things. He could have been down here hanging out, and he was a college kid, but it was the summertime, and he was back from Alaska because he had played in Alaska, and he, it was just crazy. But that was really, and then it kind of matured into being my own hit. I think as we went along, I didn't really have many people. There was more support more than instruction.
Yeah.
Nowadays, a lot of kids, the instruction first, then the support. But again, totally freaking lucky. I mean, gosh, could you imagine? How could I fail? How could I stink?
No, that's helpful for sure. I mean,
and then all
especially if
these
they're taking
great
the time.
coaches around me. I got a guy in Jenkins that's going to help teach me how to win. Oh, cool. I got a guy in Coach Bloomfield and Jim O'Brien. They're going to teach me how to play the game the right way. Then I got this guy that I'm going to go to this big school. He's going to teach me how to be a man. It's like, damn.
Yeah.
That's very fortunate. I was very fortunate, and had a great career over there at Florida. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I probably, as you know, Gainesville. I mean, that's a great town. It was
Great
a lot
college
of fun.
town. Yeah.
Wow. We had a lot of fun there. I'm sure you did too.
I did too.
Well, you had a great career there, man. You were crazy there.
Hey, dude, I was just driving to keep up with you. I mean, you paved the way and you allowed us to get there.
Oh, remember? Yeah, that's right. You were like right there, right after.
Yeah, it was right after. And guess what? If you would have not done well, I'm not going to Florida. They're like, we're not taking a Harbor guy again.
Well, isn't that the truth?
Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy. And I could remember that. I remember your mom sitting in the stands at Harbor, and I was at a game. It was like I was home for something. I don't know if it was a winter game or something. They were talking to you about going to Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
And your mom was like, your mom's awesome, by the way. Not best lady in the world. And she's like, well, what do you I'm like, really, honestly, I gave her my experience. I said, it's changed my life. It's been life-changing, not just by leaving A and by B the man I got to play for.
Yeah.
I said, that's one thing that I go, he's in good hands.
Yeah.
And then you went over there and dominated.
It was great. Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of the feelings you talk about with Coach Lopez, I have the exact same feelings.
Exactly.
I mean, just the things he was able to bring out in me that, you just don't realize is in you until it happens. And you're like, wow. And it becomes the I can do this thing, and then as soon as that happens, you're rolling.
Yeah, and it's like that. It's like coaching. I mean, why do we coach? I mean, that's for me. That's a definite reason why we coach, to impact kids the way we were impacted by our coaches.
1,000%. I agree.
And getting back to and then you start your pro career. And that's a whole nother ball of wine. But let's keep talking about Florida. No, I'm just joking. That was a lot of fun, dude. But did a lot of things there, and we got to play in the College World Series in 1998. That was surreal. Really got to I got to do something that I think my family always wanted to do. My mom, my dad, my brothers, they got to kind of vicariously live through me. And that was really cool. That's what I wanted, you know.
Before we jump to pro ball, can you please tell me the story of how did you get to Omaha? I know the story, but I think it's such a great one, and who was all there, and I just think like this is stuff. These are great stories people need to hear.
Oh yeah, well that's what I do. I tell stories. I'm a storyteller, brother. I am, and I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Well, we're playing. It's crazy in that South One Regional. We because the year before we got knocked out by ASU, or we lost down in Coral Gables, like ASU or something.
Yeah.
And we were in like the quarterfinals or something. We were good. We weren't as good. 98, we were loaded.
Yep.
Loaded. Won the Southeastern Conference outright. Had a big year. It was cool. We were fun though.
Yeah.
That was
I
kind
know.
of the problem.
Yeah.
Well, at times that was kind of, we like to have our fun, but we like to kick ass too.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I remember we played a team in the first round, kind of struggled in the first game, had kind of beat them down, kind of a beat up game. We win the game. That's the first game of the regional,
Yeah.
South 1 Regional, 1998. Then we end up playing Baylor, and Baylor's loaded, dude.
Yeah.
And they throw Kip Wells,
Yeah.
who Kip Wells the first round
Long-time
pick, pitched in the
leaguer.
big
Yeah,
leagues.
yeah.
Dude just shoved it up our butt, dude. I mean, just blew it, and we were like, holy cow.
Yeah.
And they had a great team. I remember when my ex-teammates, John Topolsky was their center fielder. I mean, all these dudes. Charlie Carter played first. These are all guys that played a long time in minor leagues, but they were
Yeah.
excellent college players, excellent ball players altogether, people altogether, that I end up meeting down the road playing pro ball. But anyway, so we got to come out of loser's bracket.
Yeah, which is brutal.
So we come back the next day and we got to play the old Richmond Spiders, who we eliminated the year before. We eliminate them again. So it's kind of like, dude. And I had been struggling with the bat against the first team. I'm sorry, whoever, I don't mean to disrespect him, but I forget who we played the first game. But then against Baylor, Kip Wells just cut me up. And it was one of those things where I was struggling, dude. I don't think. So and then the Spiders came around. I started hitting again. I mean, started feeling. I mean, really getting in the zone. I mean, locked in, dude.
Yeah.
Have a big game against them. Then we play Wake Forest. Okay, that night, because you got to play in the day, you got to play at night. Sure as heck, we play them. I'll never forget it. We were down. We still didn't have any arms, and we were losing, or we went up a bunch, and then we gave up a big lead. And I remember, like, Josh Fogg was our closer at the time.
Yeah.
Josh, longtime major leaguer with Pirates in Colorado. And Foggy came in. It was like the first inning or second inning, through to like the eighth.
Oh my god!
This is our closer.
Yeah, who'd probably thrown before. This
yeah,
weekend.
I mean, and this dude. I mean, he was our best arm out of the pen. I mean, he was our closer. But man, he threw in like the eighth, and he really ran out of gas. And we ended up chipping away. We win that game. I mean, just a beat up. I mean, God, dude, that was a tough game. But we ended up winning high numbers. It's -5 days. So I think we won like, I can't remember the score. Gosh, I should have looked. 12-10 or some one of those things. Yeah. But sure enough, we're going, do we want to play Baylor again? But in the back of my mind, I'm going, God damn, Baylor's pretty good, man. Those guys are tough. Frickin' Illinois bites him. No. Illinois bites him in the ass. Baylor lost their opening game.
Oh, okay.
That's why they were playing us out of nowhere.
Got it.
I'm sorry, I should
no
mention
worries.
that.
Yeah.
And so University of Illinois gets into the final, and we're like, holy cow, we're playing Illinois. Now, mind you, these are a bunch of tough dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, every guy's like...
Grinders.
Yeah, but you look at the numbers, they're all identical. Every guy's got like 2 ERA. Every guy's got a few wins. Every guy's hitting above 300, but not a bunch of jacks. And we had a lineup where every guy in our lineup had over 10 jacks that year. I mean, it was crazy lineup. And so we play them, and we're down... God, we're down by a run. And like the night, we're about ready to lose to Illinois. They're going to Omaha, We somehow tie it up. We tied it up because I'll never forget. I think Josh Canales comes off the bench, hits a triple.
Oh wow!
Carson High School,
yes, no, that was my host for my University of Florida.
There you go.
Recruiting trip.
Awesome dude.
Yeah, he really is. He's fantastic.
A beautiful man. He's awesome. I think and we're going nuts.
Yeah.
We end up getting that run. We tie the game, and then and I think we go 1-2. We get them. We get out, and then we go the next inning and. It got to bases, or it got to, I don't remember how this happened. Somebody got it, guys got on some walks, and I think there was one out, so it was cool. And we had runners on, and it was a smart move to do. They had runners on second and third.
Yep.
They walked the guy in front of me. And I'll never forget, this is cool. And I'm going, and I'd been on fire, dude. I mean, I just missed going yard the time before, and I think I had 3 hits or something in that game. And I had no doubt in my mind. I mean, I was going to get it done. And I'm sitting there, and everyone, going. The tension's brewing. I got mom and dad up there,
Yeah.
It was just cool. Jay Ullman's there.
Ullman,
He's like there, like a childhood friend.
Yeah, University of
Tulane.
Tulane.
Yeah, he's
now.
at Tulane now. Very, very successful coach. Awesome dude. I mean, we're going nuts, and it's all brewing, and I'm about ready to walk up, and Coach Lopez never says a word to me ever before I hit. Never says anything. He goes, "Hey Nick," hey Nick, come here. And I'm like, hey, I got it. I go, Nick, come here. I go, hey, I'll get that. He goes, get your, it's
Yeah.
like, get your butt over here. I want to coach you one time here. And it was great. And I go, okay, stop there. So I
Yeah.
walked over there, and I'm dead in the eye. I was looking right in the eye. He goes, hey, get a pitch up. This guy's got a pretty good change, telling me, kind of letting me know, really good reminders and stuff. I knew in my heart of hearts that I was locked in, but I don't blame him for being a
Yeah, of
coach
course,
there.
yeah.
Great. No, don't get too anxious, because I was one to get a little anxious, and I said, just really look for your pitch. There was no way this guy was getting me out, though.
Yeah.
And he goes, and get it up and go. And I go, Coach, I just stopped, and I swear, and this kind of thing, I go, Coach, dude, I can't lose. I cannot lose. Turned around, second pitch I saw, I hit it in the left center, game was over.
Yeah.
And I was mobbing.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. And I look back on that, and really, and that was an internal thing where really I could not, there was no way I was getting out. As good as the arm was, the other closer, it didn't matter if Roger Clemens, I was not going to get out and blow this. And it was an interesting feeling during that game, having that feeling of elimination, them taking the college, just kind of, and it all went back to all the things I worked on my mental. I got my breath. I worked a lot of things when we were at Harbor. We worked on. It's so funny how it all came full circle.
Yeah, to that moment.
And this is even funnier. What, 4 years before that, I'm playing the CIF finals in the same situation. CIF finals in high school with West High. Same situation. Guy hangs me a breaking ball, hit it to left center. Same thing. Guy caught it.
Ugh.
Diving catch, they win.
Oh, God.
Same situation. This time, hit it in left center, kind of got the thing. So we were going to Omaha. That was cool. And like Coach Lopez told me, there were times when I wanted to leave when I first got there, and it was like, he's like, dude, don't worry. Hey, we'll be laughing. We'll be, when we're talking to you on that plane trip to Omaha, we'll be talking about this time laughing.
Yeah.
Sure as shit, we were.
Yeah, that's outstanding. That's outstanding.
So that was really cool. And you see, those are all the legendary things. And,
Yeah.
and people talk about, you and it's been 20 years since. So there's been some things on Instagram about hitting for the cycle twice in a week. And I said the coolest part about that was one of the games I had for the cycle against Georgia. My Coke was there with my mom. It was like senior week or whatever.
Yeah.
That was a thrill. And then against Kentucky, it was really cool. Gosh, I swear, man, my age is getting to me. I didn't hit for the cycle. I almost did. That was the third week. I should have done it 3 weeks in a row.
Oh my God!
But I didn't get a knock against Georgia, and they were there. I needed one hit, a single.
Oh wow!
And people were like, "Oh my God, he's gonna do it 3 times in a row." And I rolled over to second base.
Yeah, exactly.
So it was kind of crazy. But, those stories, that Florida thing ended up, we lose to SC and go 2-Q. We're number 1 team in the nation. Really kind of a letdown going to the World Series. But at the same time, the experience was excellent. And we are still great friends with a lot of guys on that team. And obviously, Coach Lopez is a mentor of mine. And I really respect him. And just that whole experience of living that is so surreal and, again, fortunate.
Yeah.
Again, being able to handle that all went back to being a ball player.
Yeah. I agree.
I was really lucky.
I know, it's crazy, and it almost feels like, I don't know how it feels like for you, but it almost feels like a different life.
Completely.
Like going back, like thinking about being in Gainesville and being even pro ball too. It's like, God,
Same
so
thing.
long ago. It's starting to feel like a different life.
But it feels like just yesterday.
Yeah.
It was funny. We went back there and we had a thing for that team, the '98 team, and we went back there. And I was fortunate to bring my kids and all that, and it was bizarre. Was the smell, the place smelled different.
Yeah.
Just the things that came
air,
out,
the
air,
the heavy air. Yeah.
It was weird. And you go down. Unfortunately, they're getting rid of that stadium, I guess.
I know they
I'm
are.
like, damn, dude, that's it. McKeithen was
I know.
a
I loved
blast.
it too.
And you understood the fans there and the fan base, and just how that's the only show in town. You're playing in front of a lot of people, and like I said, anyone that has an opportunity to play in the Southeastern Conference, I don't see how they wouldn't want to do that.
Agreed.
If they don't want to, they're scared. They're scared,
Mm-hmm.
man. And I always want to play against the best.
Yep.
We had the opportunity to do that, and you did too. And you used to cut me up at Harbor and inter squads all the time. Remember that? Dude?
I kept that bat, by the way. That should say it all, man. It's probably your first at bat.
Yeah.
In the winter.
Oh, God.
Before spring training, I throw a sinker on your hands, and it barely cracks your bat, and I kept
Blew
it. And I'm
me
like,
up.
Deenick's bad, and I broke it. I'm keeping it.
Remember that? And I was like, I had all these things. Dude, we come back. Remember, I come back from Venezuela and I had all those. I just leave them.
Yeah,
that was the
yeah,
best.
it was fantastic.
Oh,
man.
the best part was all the balls.
Yeah,
'Cause
oh
remember,
yeah.
I cut every game, 152 in the minor league
144.
Season. Is it 144?
144,
Okay.
yeah.
So you're talking, I got at least 144 game ball there. Throw a couple in my helmet every night. Go over there, come home, got to have them to hit, and I'd leave them at Harbor every year.
Yeah, I know. It was
that
huge,
was
man.
Awesome. Those Jets
Saved
guys.
us.
You guys are so cool, though. I mean, that was so much fun, and you guys were a lot of fun. I mean, to have that was what was so important. Again, there's that tribal living. We all kind of chewed the same dirt. We all kind of understand it. We're all like friends for it.
We spoke a language.
It really is that people probably would look on it and be like, oh, what the hell's up with these guys? But it's a special group.
Yeah,
it is.
I agree.
It's a special group. Hey, University of Illinois, right there. See that?
Yeah, there you go. We're down on the Esplanade and Redondo, people walking by, so you might hear some motorcycles, some light chatter going by. But
that was class.
Guy was wearing an Illinois visor.
Sorry about your luck in '98,
yeah,
dude.
exactly.
I don't think they've come close to going home all since. Poor guy. I got it, man. That was crazy.
All right, so take me into pro ball.
Oh goodness. Well, yeah, and then we, fortunately, after we come back from College World Series, get drafted, go to Houston. And go to the New York Penn League.
Yeah.
Like we talked about everything. Every guy on the stand did a tour in the Penn League. And at this point, I really, this is what was interesting about me. I was fine with my career.
Yeah.
If I didn't get drafted, I was fine. I was going to go coach. I was going to, become what I wanted to become, this big college baseball coach or, whatever. And I wanted to do that. But I got drafted. I'm like, sweet. It's all. And I think that's kind of, I wish I would have had a better attitude than that. I wish I would have been like, okay, I'm expecting to go to the big leagues, like I expected to play at Florida. Yeah, it was crazy. Like I expected to be the best in high school. Like I expected to play at University of Florida. Even though I went to JUCO and I had to go through that different path, I knew I was going to be where I wanted to end up.
Yeah.
I just knew it, and I expected it. So. That is really interesting thing. But when I got to pro ball, I was kind of like, okay, I'm here. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
And even then, and I had a great season. You
you had a lot of great seasons.
I had a lot. I went to the Penn League, did really well, and we went. It was funny too. I think the most thing I'm proud of is, out of those 12 years I played professional baseball, I went to the postseason 10 times.
That's awesome.
It was awesome. So I was very fortunate in that respect. And so we went to the Penn League, did well, went to Instructional League the next year, which I kind of got a taste of spring training. And believe me being me and what I grew up in, this is me. Like I'm baseball all day. Pro ball's right up my alley,
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to the ballpark at 2 and I'm gonna go to sleep at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna, it was my life. It really was my life. It's who I was. And I think that the next year went back with Houston, and it was funny. Got an injury. Was having a great year. Played in the All-Star game, Midwest League.
Yep.
Played in the Midwest League at Battle Creek, Michigan.
Yeah, Battle Creek, Michigan.
Excellent. And we had some hell of a teams, man. I just remember that first year in Auburn. God, our first 3 arms were Roy Oswalt, Johan Santana.
Oh yeah, he was
before
with
he got Rule 5.
Yeah.
And Tim Redding, who pitched in the big leagues.
Oh yeah, he was really good too.
And it's funny, we're like in our early 20s. I mean, we had a hell of a team. I mean, we had guys, a bunch of guys on that club. Gint piece.
Oh yeah,
Ginter just Rick, Morgan Ensberg, another guy. I mean, these guys, we were loaded, and it was really like a college all-star team with some guys from extended, like Johan and Roy. So we won the Penn League that year.
Yeah, obviously.
It was killer. Yeah, it was sweet. And then the next year we went to Battle Creek, and there was some guys started getting mixed in. Some guys were going to high A, and I wasn't a high pick. I was like 16th ranked senior signed, so I wasn't going to necessarily go to the Kissimmee Club, which most guys did.
Yeah.
So I kind of got sent to that team in Battle Creek, Michigan, which was still good. We were still good. We were going to the playoffs. But in Peoria, Illinois, Colin Porter's playing. Colin Porter, great dude, center fielder. He's playing center field. I believe I'm playing right. I'm running, do or die playing right center. We collide. My knee sticks in the ground and his knee hits mine. The doctor said my knee basically exploded.
Oh my gosh.
So it exploded. I blow out my knee. I fly to Houston, get surgery. This is the kind of baseball guy I am. They said, okay, you have a choice. You can go home and rehab, or you can go to Battle Creek and rehab with the trainer there. I
already know what the answer is. Yeah.
I'm going to hang out, be a great teammate. It was fun. We had a good time. I had a nice place. I was staying with a great host family in Michigan. I mean, it was killer. So rehab all that whole winter on my knee, and it was just a pain in the butt. And I was bummed because I'd played in the All-Star game that year in the Midwest League, and it was a lot of fun. I felt like I was moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got my mobility back, and then sure enough, we go to spring training the next year. And then out of that camp, I go back to Michigan. I'm like, damn, dude, I'm going back to Battle Creek. Whatever, I'm gonna do my thing, and then we go. It was fortunate enough though too, because we had a great club, and we won the Midwest League that year. The following year, it was great.
Beautiful.
And I had a great year. That was year. Yeah, I think I finished like second or third in the batting title. Albert Pujols won it.
Oh wow.
You know, so I was like second or third to that. You look at 19. I guess it was 2000 Midwest League, and a little blurb of a name is like right under him. You know?
That's pretty
It was cool.
Yeah.
But, you know, these are all little things that, I'm very proud of my career. You know, it's not so much the part of the journey of I didn't make it to big leagues. It's just more so the journey of getting through it, which is brilliant and still living.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know. It's rough living, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, you know, and honestly, gosh, I haven't talked about this in ages. This is great. So, and then the next year, the winter comes around, all these guys get plucked off in the Rule 5 draft. Johan goes to Minnesota. Aaron Miles went to Aaron Miles. He went
Colorado.
No, he went to White Sox.
Okay.
But he ended up making it to the big leagues. The other guy.
Okay.
But he ended up going there, and a few other guys ended up. I think a few other dudes got picked up, and I got nabbed in that thing too. In the minor league phase of it. So I'm going to Detroit. Okay, and when I get to Detroit, it was interesting. Again, right up my alley. This is a baseball. I mean, their fields are called Ty Cobb Field, and Gehringer Field, and K-Line Field, and total baseball. It's old school.
Yeah.
Houston was a little different. They were more on the line of, we conditioned a lot.
Yeah.
They weren't really. They were kind of into a new age kind of guy. They you know. With Detroit, when I got to it, was like, dude, we were like tobacco chewing. You know, they promoted us to hang out in the clubhouse after practice, after workouts, and chat and chill out.
Yeah.
It was killer. We were around Hall of Famers, Willie Horton, Willie Horton, freaking Al Kaline, you know.
Like I mean, that's amazing.
Oh God, Bill Freehan was our catching instructor. I mean, just dudes, and I'm just like, God, I love this.
Yeah.
Not to say Houston wasn't like it. But they weren't like Houston had their guys around, but it wasn't like they were celebrated like they were with Detroit. Mm-hmm. And I really fit in there. And then I had a really good spring. Then I get sent to the to Lakeland, Florida State League. I'm like going, dang, dude. And I struggled in that league. But as we know it, we had a really good camp. I had a really good camp, so that when there was a chance to go up to Double-A, they called me up there. I went up to Erie with a great club. And we had gone to the playoffs again that year. I think they kind of tapped out their how good they were, like in the first half, because they had won 80 games in the first half or something.
Probably brought some guys up to Toledo.
It was crazy. It was insane. But ended up got that first taste of Double-A baseball, which was really cool. And I was kind of a role player on that team, but did real well. I mean, real well. And I was kind of irked that I didn't get more playing time. And I could honestly say, I never bitched about, I'm just happy to be there. Yeah. Which, looking back on it, I'm going, man, I should have been a little bit more pushy with this stuff, like I saw other guys do. Yeah. Because, maybe that part of it, maybe that was taken for granted, and I didn't expect to play in the big leagues. Maybe they saw that, Yeah. So I go to our field coordinator at the end of the season. I'm like, hey man, I hit 337 here, limited number of bats. I'm coming off the bench getting all these. He says, you can't give me more at bats. Shit, I should have stayed with Houston. I would have been Double-A by now, I think, which I don't know, but probably though. Yeah. So he goes, yeah, okay, kind of blows me off, and he goes, what do you got, buddy?
You mind if I take a video there? Truck?
That's it. It's not a truck. It's a van, but that's his.
You can take a video if you don't mind being over there. That's fine. We're in the middle of doing something right now.
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
We in the family we drive VWs in Mexico.
Oh, killer,
oh, beautiful. Man. Yeah, there you go.
See you, Dennis.
Okay, from here, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Over there's perfect. Yeah. Outstanding. Hey man, dude, this thing's a magnet. I'm telling you.
This thing is bitching. Yeah. Gosh, darn! I could have used this in those off seasons.
I know, I was home. Yeah. Can you imagine you in a van? You would have been scary, dude. It's probably for the better.
I know, it was great. But anyways, go back to that. It was funny. And then with Detroit, I asked him, and then he comes back to me that winter, right? I'm just sitting in Arizona because my parents had a place in Ahwatukee, and I think I was there because I'd offered it up to some of these guys that were in the fall league. Yeah. Sure enough, the guy calls me out of nowhere and says, "Hey, so and so got hurt in the Arizona Fall League. You want to put your money where your mouth is?
Yeah.
You said you wanted at bats, man. Go down there, big shot." Kind of like a challenge.
Yeah.
Kind of like I said, "Yeah, I'll be down there today." So I get in my car, drive out there, take over for I think it was Jared Patterson or somebody who had gotten hurt. Went down and just went off.
Yeah.
I mean, like, see, I didn't play much that season.
So you were
but
fresh.
I was fresh, dude,
Yeah,
and
that's
I
a big
played
deal
like
then.
it.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, for
really,
sure.
and I'm not exaggerating. I don't remember what I think I hit like 4 bills,
wow.
literally like
Yeah.
4, 3. I remember even my buddy Mark Ellis, who I played with at Florida. He was playing short. He's like, "Dude, I haven't seen you get out once." It's like
Yeah.
we were playing. I'm like, "I know. I don't know what's up, but dude, I'm just raking right
Yeah.
now." And then that gets parlayed. The beauty about that is that puts you into prospect status.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm well on my. I'm back. You
Yeah.
know, I'm back. I'm getting well on my way. And then I remember our pitching coach calls me in, Joe Baver the Saver, calls me in and says, "Hey man, you want to go make some money in Venezuela?" And I go, "Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
giddy up right
Yeah.
now, anything." Like, yeah, I'm up for doing that. As soon as the season ends, fall league, I get on a 10-hour flight to Caracas, Venezuela, where I land, and I mean, not more than 5 hours later, I'm in the batter's box against Omar Dahl, and there's like
Oh, wow.
40,000
Yeah.
people. Freaking batteries are flying, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what just happened, dude?" I just got off a 10-hour flight, dude. I'm like freaking beat down, right? So end up doing, and then I end up sticking it down there because I do really well. I mean, we went to the playoffs again, went to the Caribbean World Series.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just, and I'm like, "Oh my god, this is my big leagues
Yeah,
right now."
exactly.
I'm getting treated like,
It really
making
is,
money.
though. There's
It
an
was.
energy
it
there
was,
that's
it was
big league
incredible.
size.
I could remember when we won the championship there and being at first base and looking at the flood of fans coming over that center field wall. I'm like, dude, this is something out of like Chris Chambliss hitting a home run, the Yankees
Yeah.
just elbowing guys.
Yeah.
You had to your hat, your gloves were getting taken back. You're like, dude, you had to hustle into the clubhouse.
Yeah.
And I had a really, really big, great experience. Again, lucky enough to be around a guy like Phil Regan, who was our
Yeah, I
manager.
remember you telling me.
Oh man, he's brilliant. Just a great dude. And the supporting cast of the players you play against in the team, I mean, and the arms you face. I mean, it couldn't have been any, and doing really well there. Crazy. So I'm pretty much fresh. I go to spring training the next year, hit the ground running, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like 2 weeks removed from playing because right after the Caribbean World Series, we're like 2 weeks later.
That's
I was in
right.
camp.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, feeling really good in camp. And sure enough, I go back to AA to start the year. I'm like, fine, Erie's a cool city. I know the place. I didn't play that much, there in the first place. Have a great first month. Boom, go up to AAA and have a great year in AAA. I mean, excellent year. I don't remember what I did, but we played, went to the playoffs that year. And it was a lot of fun. Opened up that new ballpark in Toledo. And then I'd say at this point, this is when it all just came tumbling down. It was weird. It was really weird. I had a great year. And then I was supposed to go to Venezuela, went back there, played a few games, and the country went on strike while I was there.
Okay.
And it just blew up. And then I came back. And then I went to spring training, went to Major League spring training. Everybody's talking about, "Hey, man, we're going to get you to the big leagues."
Yeah.
"Hey, man, hey, dude, hey, last year you did pretty well, but I'm going to get you to the show, man. We're going to get that. We're going to catch that ball out front here, and I'm going to hit that ball." And you're like, see these dudes putting stamps on you almost. And you're like going, "Wow, this is cool," And then next thing you know, it's fucking, my swing sucks. I'm feeling weak. I'm feeling very confused. It was my own fault because I got to be tougher and I got to be able to handle this.
Yeah.
Or instruction. I'm trying to make everybody happy.
Yep. That's so huge. I had that same issue.
Isn't it the same thing?
Yeah.
I mean, crazy, right? And then you're just trying to, and the next thing you know, I get sent down from camp, and then I go to Toledo. I have a bad month. Boom, I'm back in AA.
Yeah.
Change of managers, and really, I never really recovered from that.
Yeah.
It was weird. I never really. I had some years, and I had some good numbers, but it was never something to where I recovered that full prospect status. You got it, buddy. That full prospect status, where it was like, damn, dude, I could really get a shot. And then it turned into Detroit was really good to me. And if I have any two regrets, is probably not expecting to play in the big leagues, which I should have expected, but I wasn't good enough. And also, the year I signed,
I'm going to go ahead and disagree with that. Yeah, because I think you were good enough. Again, we know how there's a saying that talent gets you to Double A and luck gets you to the big leagues, and there's a lot of truth to that. Dude, you were a major league hitter. You really were. Like,
Well, I appreciate
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Keith.
but keep going.
I appreciate that. No, I do, and in some respect, I mean, really, you there are things that get you like you. That's a great thing what you just said. It's like luck will get you big in Triple A, Double A, pretty good, but it was weird because it was just bizarre. I just really was doing okay, but not great.
Yeah.
I didn't expect much from myself. I wasn't really. I loved the game, but I was really kind of getting antsy. I wasn't having that. It was weird. Something wasn't giving me that shock and awe like I needed. My back wasn't up against the wall. I probably, in order to get, it was funny. I probably needed to go to the big leagues to like get pushed, and I wasn't there, and I don't think I really had that back up against the wall. I was so used to always proving people wrong, and so used to always wanting to prove people that, hey, I can do this, I'm going to do this, that there was nowhere else except the big leagues. I needed to get up there. I felt like I might have needed to get up there and be like, okay, I need my back up against the wall. I need to freaking, and then succeed from there. But I was too emotionally immature. I was completely emotionally immature. I was probably, I was really into our pro game. I was really into it. But that whole journey, I loved the friends I made.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact of seeing guys playing the big leagues and retiring just total winners. And I still have friends that are extremely successful, and they were extremely successful players like yourself and dudes like that. That was what it was all about. That was a journey. Again, I've never missed a day of playing. I mean, really, I haven't. But I do miss this.
Yeah.
I miss hanging out. Like when we were at Harbor, I swear I felt like that clubhouse, like a AAA clubhouse.
I know. It really was.
It was fun.
It was
But
me,
I
you, and
missed that.
Kinner.
Yeah.
Just sitting around.
He was great. Man, I was nuts. I was out of control. But
we were all learning that year.
yeah, we learned a lot. And that was the beauty of it. That was the beauty of the whole time being there.
Yeah.
And I think after when I got done playing, when it was all said and done, I did go and play indie ball, which again, I kind of got thrown into a situation and I went off. I had a great first month. I mean, really big numbers in my first year in indie ball after I couldn't get a job. Because mind you, I had to go back to single. This is classic too.
Yeah.
Remember I told you after that year, that 1 year, Detroit comes to me and says, "Hey man, can you come? Do you mind coming to camp to catch?" I'm like, "No, I don't mind." So I learned how to catch a few years.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny, but it was cool because there were guys like Pudge there, and it was cool. I got to learn that trade. Never caught in a game, but got to learn the trade.
Yeah.
But then camp comes rolling around. The end of camp. This is in 2000. What year was that? 2005.
Okay.
I've been playing since '98. I know
Yeah.
it gets hotter now. It feels good though. Hey, dude, this is beautiful, by the way.
I know, right? It really is.
Picked a great day. But anyways, 2005, and they go, "Hey, listen, we got a bunch of good players going to play on this Lakeland team. All right, we don't want to release you. You were a free agent. You're making pretty good money. 'Cause free agent money's good.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, for sure.
Killer. I was independently by myself. With I was married and I had kids. And they go, we can keep you here if you want to play in A-ball again. I hadn't played in A-ball Florida State League since 2000. This is 5 years later.
Oh my
right?
gosh, yeah.
So I go, yeah, okay. And they brought another guy with me. This is a good friend of mine, Scott Tusa, another little
Oh, yeah,
gritty.
yeah. Yeah, I remember
little
Scott. Yeah, yeah.
Tusa. Oh God, he was the best. And he was great. So he was with me, and he's like, yeah, we got all these good young players. We got this kid Verlander, who's a first-round pick. He's not going to be on that team. And start going down all the line. And really, literally, I became this Crash Davis kind of guy. And it was classic because my buddy lived down in Gainesville. Lived in Tampa. I would literally drive from Tampa to Lakeland. It was killer. Lived next door to Dwight Gooden. Dr. K. I'm like, every morning I see him and his kids around. I'm like, Dr. K, dude. It was classic. And my buddy, God rest his soul, he passed away a few years ago, Todd Johannes. And yeah, I know.
Oh man, I didn't know that.
Oh, dude, and he was great, and we lived together. He was just he played pro ball a long time, and he also was a catcher at Florida and all that. So we had a great time there, and this is how crazy it was. And my manager, another one of my greatest managers ever, was Mike Rojas.
Okay.
Just brilliant. And Britt Burns was our pitching coach. Just really guys were
Great staff.
amazing.
Yeah.
We had a great team. Again, went to the championship that year in Florida State. That was the year I faced you.
Yep.
And you were with
I was about to
Clearwater.
say, you guys were loaded.
Yeah, we had a
Loaded.
great club. That was we had lost Verlander at the break, and that was pretty much
You
it.
lost Virgil Vasquez. Was
Yeah,
there too,
Verge.
right?
Verge
Yep.
was the other
Yep.
dude. Yeah,
Yep.
and he was another guy that
Yeah,
went
went
up
up to the
there.
big leagues. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was funny. We saw guys on the back end of that, and we rolled teams. It was crazy, and that year, I mean, dude, put it this way, it was so cool. Totally illegal, but this is how great Roe was, and how much respect he had for guys that put their time in. It really taught me something too, especially as a coach and just a person. Dude, I drove to road games.
I remember that.
Me and Scotty would be like, all right, we'll see you there.
Yeah, I remember that, man. I remember that. Yeah,
You know,
because you drive over to Clearwater.
Clearwater all the
Yeah.
time. Get some chili over at that place.
Yeah, and I
that
remember
bar.
the bus left, and I want to say you stayed, and we had dinner that night. And I'm like, no, you can't stay. And
I'm like,
you're like, no, dude, I drove.
Yeah, how great was that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh man, how was that in Clearwater? That was crazy.
It was a great park.
Yeah,
It was
that
the
place
big
was
league
killer.
stadium.
Well,
yeah.
it wasn't a great pitcher's park.
Yeah, no, it was not a great pitcher's
Jim
park.
Tomey was there that time. Remember?
Was he? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
but he was rehabbing
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah,
that was cool.
We had Cole at one point too, Hamels.
Oh, no way.
And then they brought him up, and we were a shell of ourselves in the second.
Well,
half.
yeah, Hamels was there. That's where I faced it. He was there. He was a youngster.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, he was tough.
Oh
dude.
man, right?
Oh my
Change
gosh.
up and the
And he was
the
like
angle.
97,
Yeah, yeah.
96, 96
Yeah.
97
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah.
Great changeup.
Yeah.
Great changeup. But, you know, it's one of those things where it's funny how they get better as pitchers.
Yep.
I'd hit him pretty good because I would literally say, and I should hit him. I'm 30 years, however old I am, he's a youngster. And I knew I was going to get a changeup. I'd sit on it and I'd just
Catch it out
try to,
front.
yeah, and just try. Actually, I think I hit a homer off him. And it was like, but he figured out, which was cool about it was I never touched him again once he figured out, hey, dude, I'm going to throw 96, 97, this veteran. Shove it up his ass, and here it goes. And I'm like, yeah, that's why you're Cole Hamels. I'm Derek Nicholson.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Pretty classic,
that's
but he was a
funny.
lot of fun. And again, facing you. I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
the last time I faced you, you're blowing up my bat at LA Harbor College.
Yeah.
On the mound.
And then
at
you got me in that game.
breaking ball. Should never thrown a breaking
Yeah,
ball.
you're right.
dude.
You're right.
That was crazy.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was payback for breaking my bat in front, for being 8 or 19, breaking like a pro ball guy's bat. And just
Hey,
like,
dude, you weren't
that was
exactly ready to roll at that point. But
was
no,
funny.
that was awesome. Yeah. I
So
mean,
it was
such
a lot of fun.
great memories. And so
Great memories.
So back
Crazy.
end of your career and then transitioning out.
Yeah, transitioning out. Hey, that was interesting because I think I'm a little different than most people. I've always accepted who I was. I'm a baseball guy, like I said
Yeah.
before. I might have tried to dabble into other things and things like that, but at the end of the day, this is what I do. This is who I am. This is who I'm totally content being.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Some people say, well, maybe you're more than that. I may be, but you know what? I don't want to be.
Yeah.
This is what I do. You want to? It's pretty funny. I said it's really easy to find me. I'm either at Penn doing the field or coaching, whatever, or I'm at home, hanging out with my kids, or just it's really easy to find me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's who I am. That's what I expect, and I kind of went into that, and then going into. And I think what happened was when I got done, I was lucky enough to get hired on at Harbor by
Yeah.
Marco Avalar. He hired me, and we played that year, and I coached. I liked it at the JC level. And if you remember, the next year he got fired.
Yeah.
We got let go, whatever. And I remember I didn't want that job.
No, I know. I remember that. I remember having that conversation with you.
I liked being the assistant. I liked recruiting kids. Kind of a lot of what you did.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, man, I kind of like this. And then all the other guys kind of fall by the wayside. But I'd been lucky enough to, one of my best friends, Evan Fujinaga, who's a longtime coach at PV High, now he's the athletic director at Santa Monica. I mean, I learned everything from being exposed to that. And he was my teammate at Harbor, and he went with me from Harbor to Florida. And I mean, really is where I learned all this time in the off seasons and being around that experience at PV, because they're winning a lot.
Yeah. Oh,
It
yeah.
wasn't not, I mean, they were,
He's as good as it gets.
yeah,
He really
by
is.
far. And he produced 2 big leaguers during that time,
Yeah.
with Matt Grace and Ben Rowan, these 2 arms, and multiple guys going on and playing at big schools, and a little school in Palos Verdes, you know. And I was lucky enough to kind of have that, know that organization, how that worked, know how to handle kids in that respect. But I didn't know enough. And then it kind of felt, I was thinking, hey, maybe Food can coach at Harbor
Yeah.
when Marco left, or maybe you know, all these guys we respect, you know, the Billy Dillons of the world over at Narbonne, things like that. And I didn't go, and I was like, but it kind of came down to, hey, I'm gonna do this. Yeah, I guess I'm, you
Yeah.
know, kind of like, well, why don't you do it, D-Nick? You can do, you know, it's
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness. So I went balls out, and you know this because you were
Mm-hmm.
here and you were a guy I hired, and balls out, both feet in like everything else I
Yeah.
do. And it was 18-hour days of the baseball part was great. The administration part
Yeah.
was hell. And my vision and my future, what I saw, something that could be great, I don't think was shared much by the school.
Yeah, yeah, no, I
and
agree.
that's hard to even to do anything. And it's funny, every time you hear a new coach hired somewhere, it's like, hey, their commitment to the facilities and their
Yeah.
commitment to all this other stuff that I was really told over there. They told me it didn't matter.
Yeah.
And you know, and then one thing leads to another. I learned a lot. I learned the hard way on how to talk to people in higher stand. You know, how to talk to administration. I didn't know how. Again, emotionally immature. I was just getting done. Well, they don't teach you how this stuff in pro ball.
No.
They don't teach you how to talk to your boss in pro
No.
ball. They teach
No,
you how to
I
talk
agree.
to a field coordinator or your manager,
Or in
which
a
is
locker
big
room, where
or
it's
in the
like
locker
everybody's
room.
just as
Yeah.
honest as possible.
Exactly. And those were things I didn't learn in pro ball, and I had to learn the hard way after leaving Harbor. And then even as I went in transitioning into a life that really spiraled into something that was extremely that changed my life. You know,
Yeah.
you spiral into places that you don't think you would have ever gone, and then you dig yourself out of it. And I did that, and that's why I really feel professional baseball. I am a baseball guy, but I also think that there should be more stuff out there for baseball guys, resources like this platform right here, I would say, to
Yeah.
kind of reach out and talk about what it's like to be done playing
Yeah.
after so long, because I didn't know how to handle it.
No.
I wasn't taught that. I wasn't taught in pro ball how to be a husband. I wasn't taught in pro ball how to be a dad.
Yeah.
I wasn't. If anything, you were taught to
Yeah.
fucking just pretty much pillage everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're taught the opposite. You're taught to womanize. And,
Yeah,
hey,
all of it.
son, see you in 7 months.
Yeah. It's like, gosh, yeah, exactly. And then you see things how you know, you don't see. No one's really looking like they're the top people in the, you know, top husbands in the
Yeah,
world.
no.
Not to say everyone's a dirtbag, but you know, not to say all the guys. There's a lot of good ones out there. There's a lot of bad ones too. You know, they have different families when you go to a different country.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah.
But you
Gosh.
just don't see it, and really, it doesn't teach you this stuff. And I had to learn, not because I wanted to, because I was forced to.
Yeah.
Through you know, just a lot of through the law, and through a lot of it just by being trying to make myself better and being, you know, my life being better for that, you know, for all
Yeah,
that stuff.
no, I know, man. It's like,
And that's what
telling you.
it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, it's crazy.
You'd be amazed how many guys have reached out, like ex-teammates, ex-guys, a couple guys I didn't even know, but like, hey, man, thanks so much. You know, a lot of the sentiments shared are things I felt.
That's
Still
great.
kind of finding myself. And these are guys that have been retired for 10, 12 years.
Jesus.
And it's the same, dude, it's the same thing. Like you just hit it on the head. What's modeled in professional baseball largely is the opposite of being a good husband and father.
Absolutely.
And again, it's just such a bizarre environment that,
It is.
I mean, not that I blame guys. I mean,
No.
it's just you're on the
It's
road
there.
for 7 months.
Hey,
Yeah.
I didn't get married till I was 30-something years old for that
exactly.
reason.
Exactly,
You
right?
know?
No, I know.
And
It's-
still couldn't pull it off. You know,
I mean,
it's like it's crazy
It's
like
tough,
that.
man.
Yeah.
It is not something we're prepared for, and so that was one of the thoughts with this thing is like,
Yeah.
dude, catch up with old friends, guys that I miss, I mean, again, like we said, the locker room environment
Exactly.
is gold. Is stuff that if you could go like to a fantasy camp of just a week of the locker room environment,
I know.
go take BP, you know, throw a pen or something and go hang out for 2 hours after and BS. I miss that like crazy. It was outstanding.
Seriously. I mean, then that's the cool stuff. But the funnier thing is too, like exactly what you said was, sometimes guys don't get pulled out of it. They wonder why, you know, these guys, even in the NFL, it happens in all these things. There's no platform while you're playing. What I would like to see is being able to having people that actually teach you about domestic violence when you're playing,
Yeah.
teach you about drug abuse, teach you about all these things and how to handle having kids on the road or parenting class. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Because sure as shit in spring training they show us how to stay away from gambling.
Yeah.
They show, we have the gambling one. They show us what happens if you get hit in your private parts and you
Yeah,
have a cup on.
exactly.
they
Such
bring
antiquated stuff.
Yeah,
Like, hey,
it's
thanks.
so funny. It's like, oh, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
And someone's gonna show me how to actually be a good parent to my kids. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, no, they don't do it. But I wish, even if it were a monthly thing where a guy would come in and you kind of had to do so many hours as a player, that you had to do so many hours, and maybe there wouldn't be so much domestic violence in sports. People should know this and be aware of it, and I think the awareness obviously is the first place to start.
Yeah.
Nobody's aware of this stuff.
No, and how to,
some of these guys are coming from different countries.
dude, right? Don't even
Yeah.
barely speak English.
Yeah,
and
I
all
mean,
of a sudden
how
you're
tough is
under
that?
American jurisdiction. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
but also like how to process what's going on in
Yeah.
your life too, because
Oh God, is
you
that
know,
the truth?
I mean, dude, like you come like you've been doing something your whole life. It's something that since you're 5 years old, I'm going to do this. It doesn't happen. Then you come home, dropped off in a society and been told like, hey, all right, go get him.
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
see you
hey,
later.
yeah, see
You're
ya.
like, okay.
Yeah,
then,
okay, yeah.
No, I didn't really make $1 million. Well, think about it. This is what trips me out. There's probably guys, multi-millionaires in the big league that never really, they're going around having not even a clue of any of this stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because they've been able to buy themselves,
That's a great
make the money
point.
out. They haven't had to do that. Like I said, I got help in all those areas because I had to.
Yeah.
Either you have a compelling reason to do it, or you get, or because it's got to be a choice in order
Yeah.
to do it. Or else I certainly wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah.
But or something happens and you have to.
Yeah.
And there's guys going around probably society never had to.
Yeah.
Crazy. I mean,
I
just
agree.
insane to me.
I agree.
And that's unfortunate because they don't know that, and these are gonna. It just doesn't make it a very good world.
No, I know, and it's it's ticking time bombs for some guys.
It is.
It's
It
like,
really.
it's
the
coming
truth.
at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah. No,
And you see them around, and that's what's so cool about this platform is too. I bet you this is therapy for you, just talking about
for
it
sure,
with all these dudes.
for sure. Going through your career, like, I think you hit on something: awareness and acceptance.
Yeah.
Like being able to accept, like, it didn't happen,
Yeah.
is great
Mhm.
because all of a sudden it's like that. Uncle Rico, I could throw a football over the mountains back in '82.
From
Napoleon Dynamite, yeah.
classic.
If they would have put me in, we would have won state. It's like I've gotten. to
Or
the
those
point
guys
where-
you sit next to at Applebee's, they're like, "Hey man, I used to play. Coach effed me, got caught drinking, met a girl, all the excuses you hear."
And so when you're going
BFE.
through this, you get to the point where you're like, look, this is what happened. This is what I needed to do well. I didn't, and that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's the deal, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Like that is what it is. It's-
and dig on the cards that you have, and
Yeah.
and really, like I said, and especially coaching, which is so cool, is you, like I tell people all the time. I said through my coaching, I'm a storyteller. I
Yeah.
live. That's how I coach.
Yep.
And to being able to share that experience is golden. It didn't have to be in the big leagues.
Yeah.
It didn't have to be, after making $40 million a year.
Yeah.
I'm totally never got into this to make millions of dollars.
Yeah.
No, not even playing. I really, did I ever think it would change my life? It would have if I played in the big leagues a long time. But you know what? Never, I swear to you, never even a thought of that.
Yeah.
It was more about the game and the playing, and it's like that as coaching.
Yeah.
now.
No, I
You
agree,
know.
and I think that's why we still are in the coaching end because
Yeah.
we love the game. I mean,
Absolutely.
me and you used to joke in the locker room
Oh,
that we were
man.
lifers.
We are. But
And it's-
thank you. I love this. Let's just kill it.
Yeah, I know.
Great. I mean,
Get to be
people
on a
go,
ball field. I know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of guys who would trade with us in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. And and it is what it is. It helps you grow. I mean,
Yeah.
it has helped me grow more than anything. Like I tell our players in our program, I learn more from them just as much as they learn from me.
Yeah.
Like anything, I go, you don't understand. You guys are my saving grace. I mean, that's why you're here. You don't realize that,
Yeah.
and you will when you're older and you come over here and you realize that.
Yeah.
So it's a perspective that I think high school kids and younger kids that I think we could pass on that they don't get.
Yeah. No, I
you know?
agree.
And this
I
is a
agree.
perspective that I like. So
I know.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's huge. I feel the exact same way. All right. So one of the things we kind of finish on is a good funny story from pro ball because that's something that until you've lived it,
Yes.
it all just seems. This is kind of part of the pro
This
ball
is great.
experience.
Well, let me think now. Me and my buddy going down to Navarro to buy beans. No, anyways. No, just joking. No, not going to go there. Oh, I got a good one. That year when I played Crash Davis.
Yeah.
This is like classic. Oh God, this is great. Detroit, during the All-Star break, they have like this Hall of Fame game. Okay, you go play. The two big league teams come together.
Yeah.
During the break, they're all pissed off that they're. You know
yeah,
what
yeah.
I'm talking
I know
about?
what you're talking about. Yeah, yeah.
They go to the Hall of Fame game. Well, I'm Crash Davis. I'm doing a good job. Hey, Mr. Nick, you've been doing very well in single A, and being the good Crash Davis that you are, we'd like to bring you to the Hall of Fame game and maybe come off the bench and play and spell Dimitri Young or any of these guys, right? To not, because they're going to show up and play their one inning. We're playing the Red Sox. I go, oh, of course, you'd love to, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, sweet. I'm going to Cooperstown to go play in this exhibition game that all the big league guys are going to be pissed off their ass.
Yeah, exactly.
No problem. I'm going to dig it. I'm going to collect the meal money and just dig this. Sure enough. Well, the best part is we're getting ready to play, and I look in a lineup, and like I'm getting ready to get. I'm in there. Like I don't know who was playing, but I'm like in there for 4 ABs. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm like tripping out and go. Then all of a sudden I go, dude, I gotta use the restroom. I gotta go take a leak. Whatever. Say.
Yeah.
And so I go around the corner, and we all know it. We're playing Boston, the Red Sox, in New York, and we all know about Pesky's pole in right field, right?
Yeah.
Johnny Pesky,
Yeah.
one long time Boston Red Classic player, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. I get in there finally. I start going to using the restroom, and it's full. There's people in there. You're like in there with the stands of people. I'm in a Detroit uni. I got number
exactly.
99 on, and this old man comes cruising in the restroom, looks around and says, "Oh, F," looks around. Takes his pants down and starts peeing in the sink, like we're at a bar on a Friday night, peeing in the sink. And I look and I go, and one of the guys is like a scout, and they're like, and he said something really funny, but he mentioned, yeah, so and so, Mr. Pesky, thank you. It was Johnny Pesky that came in there. Pesky's pulled out right there in the sink in front of everybody. The sink turned on the water
Pulled up,
and I'm like, that's funny. And he goes, and he looks at me, and he saw me, he looked me up and down, he said, go get him today, kid. Walked out of there. Holy shit. That was the funniest thing I've ever, I mean, just really, you're sitting there and you look, and this old dude comes up, and it was Johnny Pesky.
Yeah.
Pissed in the sink, like it was like last call at the club, So that was a classic story. I got many others, and I'm sure we'll be able to double back on that someday.
Yeah, that's funny, man.
Really, really fortunate to be on here, and like I said, I fully respect the people you have on the show and what you're doing, not only here but at Costa and all that. I mean, just totally respect it, and it's cool. Because we got to coach with each other when we first started. Now seeing it all come,
I know,
you're
right?
a head guy now, and I mean, you always had it in you.
We're 10 years down, and dude, I appreciate the opportunity because you let me still play.
I know.
Think about that. I mean, just for people that are listening, I would coach, and then D-Nick would say, all right, you're taking off. You're going to play a season. So I'd go play in the summer, and then I'd hustle back and coach, and not many people would even think about that, like that was acceptable. But you let me do it. So.
Well, you were worth it. You did a great job with those guys, and you're the best recruiter in the world to this day.
Jeez.
God,
those were fun times.
Yeah,
man.
they were good times.
It's again back to like our growth.
Yeah,
dude, that was invaluable. Like those times, it was invaluable for our growth. So.
Yeah, as many hours we put. Like I think about it, I go, oh man, I think about the hardship of that time. I go, God, but thank God for it, huh?
Right.
Thank God for going through it. Thank God for being put in these situations. Like I said, extremely fortunate. I wouldn't be the person that I am today, who I think is a growing person, if I didn't go through these.
Yeah,
things,
right. I mean, I always go back to like, they tell a story about how wine is made, and if you put the grapevines in a nice, beautiful soil, they don't do very well. They die pretty quickly, but when you stick them in like the weeds and the rocks, and they have to kind of fight and claw.
They like adversity.
They like adversity, and
like
that's exactly what that was for us. That was the adversity that allowed us to grow to who we are now.
And again, a certain perspective that I don't think a lot of coaches can offer to kids.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And we do that, and that's it's an advantage. I think all that, like I told you when we first started this talk, extremely fortunate. But I definitely had an advantage from the time I was 5 years old to now.
Well, you took advantage of it. Nice job.
Yeah, man, dude. We done?
Yeah, we're good times,
You're the
man. Frickin' A, you're the best.
Again.
Yeah, thank you for everything.
All right,
like I said,
thank you.
It's quite the journey we've been on.
What a day, huh? It's not over yet.
Not over yet.
It's not
No,
over yet.
no, it
I like
isn't.
this.
So.